one of the biggest problems in this country is the voting system. There's two halves to that. There's one half that is the fact that we do not have a verifiable voting system in terms of how easily the machines and their components can get manipulated, how easy the voting rolls can be and are to be manipulated, and when that's combined with the restrictions on when you can change party, or if you even forcing you to choose a party in essence, or not be able to participate in much of the process, voter ID laws, and many other things, lack of same-day registration. That's one half of it. But the other half is the way in which we vote, in terms of the way that we actually pick, okay, what we actually write. And that is called the first past the post voting method in terms of how we vote in this country, right? And it promotes the two-party, some call it a duopoly, others would call it a monopoly, which to me it really is a monopoly more than anything. And lesser, tiny little parties that don't really have the ability to win much traction, especially on a national level. Because it's a winner-take-all system, and it doesn't allow people to say, hey, I like this person best, but this person is okay, and that person's alright, and these few over here, I don't really like them at all, and oh, by the way, that person down there, I hate them. There's no way I'd ever vote for them. So that system, okay, can either be, depending upon the branch of government that it's best suited for, either called first past the post, either called the single transferable voting method, or it can also be called ranked choice voting. Generally, especially as it's been promoted via the Green Party, it's called ranked choice. And indeed, there's at least one agency that actually calls it ranked choice, when in reality it's single transferable voting method that they're promoting, basically. Okay, the two systems are very similar, but they're not quite identical. Again, because one of them, the single transferable voting method, that is meant for representation, okay, in terms of multiple representatives covering a given area. Whereas the ranked choice system, that's for the executive branch of government. That's for the president, that's for the governor, that's for the mayor, okay, town mayor. That's what that's better suited towards. They're both, okay, of critical importance, in terms of to change to that setup, as opposed to continuing to maintain the status quo. Ranked choice voting, single transferable voting method, they both promote the construct and will allow for multiple political parties, not just two, not even just 3 or 4, but we could actually at that point have a dozen different political parties in this country, or still allow for about 5 or 6 different parties that would, again, they would all be actually able to, on a realistic level at any given election, win. Okay, when I say 5 or 6 political parties, right now we have about I've seen on ballots personally, I've seen about 8 different political parties. Are most of them viable? Hell no. It's 2 that are definitely there. It's 2 that are kind of there in terms of I always see them, but I've never seen any of the, except for the primary 2, actually, the first 2, the biggest 2, actually get anywhere. Again, I know that there are some cases where Libertarians and Green Party will actually win, more localized offices. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that national office is right now really impossible because of what's called the spoiler effect that is inherent in the first past the post voting method. Again, with the single transferable and ranked choice, you do as the second term implies, you rank your choices. 1 through, with 1 being your top choice, on down the line to however many candidates are in a different office or a given area. And this allows for people to thusly, once those votes are tabulated, to get a better construct as to what's going to happen, and to better be able to vote for the real winner in terms of overall where their opinions overlap with people that are near them, or in some cases not so near them in terms of a national election. So once we get this system in place, it'll eliminate, these systems in place. It'll eliminate the construct or the need really for primaries to begin with in terms of primary elections. We still might have them, but it'll make them unnecessary. So that'll save a lot of money and a lot of time. In terms of what's being spent, billions of dollars every cycle. And it'll also allow for the concept of unaffiliated voters who, again, I'm definitely one of them in terms of the concept that I keep on switching parties on pretty much every cycle, and if I don't officially do it, I make sure I vote for a different person every cycle, especially in local elections, because at this point, I don't like any of the parties, any of them really all that much. Not to say that I don't agree with parts of their platforms, a significant amount of them, but they all have issues, and inherently I live in a closed primary state. If it were not for that, I would never have chosen a party affiliation in my life. It saved me a lot of trouble. And a lot of pain. Because filling out voter registration forms that I need to do to change parties actually is physically painful. So, again, I am going to include some links to some further videos on the voting systems, the voting methods. I'm also going to include a link to at least two or three, to at least organizations or groups that are trying to change the voting method. So that you folks can at least get along with some links in further description. Because again, I want you folks to actually understand what's going on. I want you to as well. Feel free if you know anyone who knows more about this stuff to include more links. And because this needs to be changed. The candidates at this point, you could point to any one of them and say that they're both the criminal and the abused. They're the criminal and the cop. At the same time, in a lot of cases, actually, they're both. So, until that fundamentally changes, until the populace builds up away from the concept of cults of personality or even cults of platform, which I believe primarily, especially in terms of this cycle, was platform first. But again, personality was a big factor as well, and unfortunately it always is. So, not to say again that we're not going to need individual people to push this through, we are, but we at least need to unite the groups in terms of uniting efforts as opposed to overlapping them in absentia of each other. Especially when we live in the same geographic area, and start to really focus on getting these issue solved at a basic level. Shalom.